I wanted to share a quick story of something that happened to me recently where at first I didn't make much of it, but in time, it truly got me thinking about how people like me and others in my business truly are a conduit between professional athletes and youth players and coaches, and how sometimes those of us in the middle, maybe we translate too many messages or we don't send them with a disclaimer. Let me explain here. The story goes like this. My wife and I and son and dog, we were coming back from a walk to the park and we happened to pass by a basketball gymnasium. On the outside, a coach was clearly giving a post-game debriefing to his team, and it was pretty critical. Specifically, he was not happy about the team's ball management in the final couple minutes of the game. I'm assuming they lost the way he was delivering this message. But there's something else you need to know here. The players on this team were like 8 or 9 or 10 years old. It just seemed a little out of place, and I know you would have had to be there to understand this, to see it and feel it, but just trust me, it did not have the right look or feel to it, given what the coach was saying and given the age and experience of these players. But I've seen this before. It's not new. I didn't really know what to make or take away from this. But again, I started to realize that maybe my job and my industry might be facilitating or helping this problem along a little bit. In broadcasting, in the media, on social, whatever you want to call it, we are direct conduits to pro teams, pro players, and coaches. We feed you on a regular basis what they say and how they critique and evaluate performances truthfully and honestly and in a ton of detail. But the huge difference here is that those professionals are, number one, adults, number two, performing on the highest levels, number three, are used to being in a constant spotlight, and number four, those individuals do have career ramifications if they don't succeed. That is opposed to, like I said, 8, 9, or maybe 10-year-olds who really should only be playing sports at that point just for fun. I want to be clear here. I am not telling youth coaches to be any less technical or be less detailed in your craft. That's not it at all. I'm not saying you need to dumb things down just because these kids may not be old enough yet. But I am suggesting maybe you consider age-appropriate advice, because I'm not sure that most 8-year-olds are even great decision makers in life, let alone when it comes to, shot selection on a basketball court with time winding down in a game. In the same breath, I'm also here to tell you that little leaguers probably don't need to be worrying these days about their launch angles, and youth hockey players should not be worrying about what their Corsi rating is. That's kind of ridiculous. But I do think it happens. In closing, I do think it is important to acknowledge that a lot of us learn by emulation, right? We see somebody else have success and we want to copy that in the same way as best as possible, hopefully for a similar result. That's fine. But what we cannot forget here is that unless you're a pro, you're not on that level yet. And so there is the saying, act like a professional. Yes, I would agree with that, but never hold yourself, or kids in this case, to those same professional standards.